and welcome to Alchemist Swim. I'm Alchemist Jen. Thanks for joining me today. I hope it's an alright day for you. That would be splendiferous. So today, whim of the day is to just talk and knit. Decided that's a good thing to do. So working on the silly scarflet. We are ready to do another hole here. So my fancy measurement is just to fold it over and see that it lines up with the other hole and then go, hey, it's time to do another one. Now we don't have to count any of the rows. I just make it happen. So pretty sweet there. And so I've also been working on some dyeing. So I dyed up some wool and some alpaca, just one batch that has 4 total skeins and then 2 different kinds of yarn. And interesting to see kind of next to each other how, you know, in the same pan, how they just accepted the dye just a little differently. So I'll show you what that looks like when they dry a bit more. They're still quite wet. And then I have cotton yarn, which I haven't washed yet, so it'll have to be washed later. Want to make sure it cures at least for 24 hours, so that's going to be for a little while later today. So we'll see how the evening goes and we'll go from there. Make some decisions about whether I can do it tonight or whether I have to wait till another time. And if I wait till another time, it's not going to hurt it at all. It might make it a little bit more intense, maybe not. As long as it gets to 24 hours, it should be good and be ready to go. So yay for yarn. So I'm like talking and not paying attention to the fact that I need to open this up. Alright, so basically what I'm doing is I am casting off in the center of this row, and then the next row I will cast back on, just kind of open, you know, the loop and then close the loop again. It's essentially what I do. So it's going to knit cast off. So you knit 2 and pull the first one over the needle, and then you continue along your way doing the same thing. So knit another one, pull previous stitch over the needle, so it just kind of comes off there, and then you end up with kind of an open spot. So I'll show you what that looks like when I'm done casting off here. Yay! Alright, I still like how this yarn knits up. It's very fun. It's a happy, it's like confetti, the way the colors show up in spurts throughout the net. Alright, and the last one, I'll show you what it looks like. So it is just nice and open there, so you can see kind of that openness right there where you've cast off this cute little finished edge there. And we'll just continue on with our stitches for the rest of the row. And it's fantastic. So I'm just like zoning out. It's a hard breathing day. There is forest fires affecting the air quality, and my brain's not getting very much oxygen. So if I sound weird or if I sound wheezy, what have you, that's what's going on today. Or if I like just stop talking like I just did, it's you know, trying to use my brain and keep it focused, because I'm really not focusing on anything in particular, or I'm focusing on like random things that don't need as much attention in that moment, as my brain's like rerouting that power to whatever it decides versus, you know, me having that control over it. So it's kind of fascinating, just how we adapt, and your body chooses to, you know, give vital organs as much as possible when it's necessary. So right here I've got, it's completely open in that area where I'm going to make stitches to reconnect. So it's a knitting cast on, and I flip the work so that way it'll end up, you know, essentially being like a purl cast on in a sense. So because it's on the purl side of that, that row is a purl roll, so it's really cool how that kind of works out. So I'm just gonna be building that. I'll count them at the end probably a couple times because I don't know how much my brain can hold numbers right now, let alone like function to make stitches. So it's all good. It's all good. I think I'm doing pretty well, all things considered. So here we are, knitting. Knitting's fun. I don't know if you've tried it or if you just enjoy watching me, like, you know, hold my face in weird ways while I talk, while I knit. And then a lot of times I'm knitting in such a way that you can't actually see me do any stitches, so I appreciate that you're still here and listening to me ramble, because I do a lot of that. A lot. Alright, I'm gonna count probably out loud. 5. So I'm counting from the end of the row, so then I know where I'm at for which type of stitch. My brain likes that. 6, 7, 8. So I just need one more, which will bring me to 9, and then I still have one left of that 10 stitch section on the other side. So I'll flip it again, do my purl stitch, and then switch to knitting to finish out the rest of the row. Ta-da! Really is quite an easy pattern. It's so repeatable that it just makes it really delightful to pick up and put down. Even at shows, I have no problem, even in the middle of the row, kind of just setting it aside, and it's really an easy knit. And I'm definitely looking forward to trying it with a bigger gauge needle and yarn. So I do have some yarns that really aren't moving, certain colorways or thicknesses that people, you know, it's like you need a certain project to enjoy them or complete with them. So which is totally cool, you know, it's part of the learning process, and yeah, I mean, certain things arise for different people. If you're connected with something, they'll get it. If it doesn't quite jive yet, you know, it just won't become anything for them, and that's totally cool. So I have two thicker yarns. One's a super bulky and one's like a mega bulky, in similar colorways, but I'm curious to see, and I have multiple skeins of each, so I'm curious to see how those would work up to be a bigger version of this. It's more like a shawl or a wrap. So, you know, take a opportunity with something that, you know, it hasn't found a home yet to kind of give it a purpose and give it a home. Make it into something. It can be a sample or a wearable, which is really cool, especially for events and things. I have a couple pieces that I, you know, haven't written up the patterns for, but they are things that I've designed, so that I end up wearing anyway. So find those type of things, you know, you can talk about them, but you know, people are going to make what they're going to make anyway. So some things I can have available as patterns directly, or you know, not everything needs to make it out into the world as a pattern, and that's totally cool too. I said it. As somebody who is working on writing a bunch of patterns, yes, that is a thing. So I always start out with the intention of making it more available, and sometimes I get there, sometimes I don't. So you know, as I'm working through different projects, I've got plans for a wearable item with a collaboration with another yarn company, and so with that one, like, I want to make it so that I've got grading and it's, you know, a shirt type thing, or like a sleeveless kind of a top. And so I've got the idea for, I just need to make it happen. And so, like, things like that I know that I want to work on probably be things that I will show up with next. And my thing, this one's going to be a sample pattern to take up to a little button craft in Rochester, but then I also still need to make another one of these for my own self, because I need to make sure that I have samples of my own patterns. And I figure while I'm in the groove of making a certain thing, rather than moving on to the next thing, is the right time to do a pattern. I don't want to have to come back to it. I think that for me, if I move forward, I usually tend to not go back again. So so those are my thoughts. That's why I pause hard on some things instead of not moving forward. Like the octopus, you know, that I've made, I want to make sure that I do execute the pattern for that. So so like I haven't crocheted anything else until I have yarn to actually make this pattern. It's kind of a funny thing, but just something I noticed that I do to keep myself in a zone so that I don't, you know, screw up my intentions, if that makes sense. So funny how my brain works with that, and then how my brain protects itself through that as well. Like, doesn't allow myself to grow and move forward when it could very well, and probably be very happy with it, but it has to like stall until it's completed. So it's just fascinating. Sometimes it takes me a while to get over the stall part too, because either I just like have to be in the right zone to resume action on something, or that, you know, I have kind of moved on from it, and so I need to like reestablish where I am now with where I was then, to pull whatever it is up to speed, I guess, if that makes sense. I don't know if that makes any sense, but it's like it has to be rewritten for now as opposed to where I was then. I really don't even know if that makes any sense, but creatively I find that I'm making so much stuff right now that my growth is kind of on a fast trajectory. So like, even like, you know, let's say batches of yarn that I dyed like 3 batches ago, I feel like I've already progressed beyond that. So like, even if I recreate it, I'm in a different dyeing place, I guess, in my process and my mindset when I'm doing it. So it's kind of fascinating. I don't know if you're creative and you find that happens with you too. So I don't know if I'm the only one or not. But I don't think that's a bad thing. Instead of getting stuck in an area where you can't move past or move through, just being able to I guess kind of grow and move around or through. I don't know which way I'm going with that one. I kind of got lost halfway through that sentence. I felt like I was rambling too much, and then I kind of lost my train of thought. So thanks for listening to my randomness. So I think I'm going to finish up this row, and then we will resume again tomorrow. So we'll see if the yarn I washed today is in a place where it can be shown for tomorrow's video, and then I'll definitely have some wool coming in today that I'll need to dye, so be working on that as well. So custom wool dyeing happening as well, so that's what's going on the next few days, and so I can get it done as quickly as possible. But I also have a show this weekend, so I have a lot going on this week. It is a very big week, but I still show up for these because this is my part to kind of recenter myself, and being able to talk through and process things is probably one of the biggest benefits to being able to talk through, you know, to doing these, I guess, if I can say the same thing at the same time. But I think I gain grounding through being able to show up and be creative, but then also to talk through my creative process. So thanks for being here, and we'll see where the whim takes us tomorrow. Thank you. Toodaloo.